Jackie, I have to ask you this. Okay, mediumship, a lot of people understand mediumship, but what you do is very, very, very specific. Like you do rescue mediumship. So, how would you describe what a rescue medium does?
Well, I don't rescue mediums.
Okay,
Um,
well,
I, but um, yeah, you know what? Because I am a medium and I do like readings as well. But when you are doing spirit rescue work, you are actually rescuing the spirit that's trapped in wherever they're trapped, a house or location or whatever. You need to go and talk to that spirit and find out why they're there. What are you hanging around for? I call it spirit counseling. It's like a counseling sort of session, and finding out why they're there, why they're hanging out there, and how we can help. So we help them to go over to the light by a series of talks, getting to chat to them to find out what the problem is, just like you would, if somebody has a problem and they go to see, maybe they go to see a doctor,
a
or they go
psychologist.
to a counselor, or a psychologist, and say, I have this problem, this is what's going on in my life now. And sometimes they take those problems with them, and then they don't know how to deal with it. Or sometimes they're just lost, they just don't know where to go. They've gotten there and they're thinking, right, okay, now which way do I go? I'm a little bit in the dark here. So we just point them in the right direction. So that's basically the basics of spirit rescue work. However, you are working blindly with it. So when you're giving a a message to someone, whether you're on a rostrum giving a message to an audience, or it's a one-to-one reading with somebody, you get their feedback straight away. Oh yes, okay, yeah, Uncle Joe, oh gosh, yeah, he always wore a hat like that, that sort of feeling. But when you're working with spirit energy, you got nobody to come back and say, yeah, okay, yeah, I understand, that's exactly who it is, because you're working blindly. So that's why we always like to back up whatever we're doing with research after the event. So
Okay.
talking to spirit who tells you his name's William, tells you that maybe he died in a farming accident. Well, then afterwards, let's go and research that and let's find out, which is why, rescue mediums, I think, is so popular, because we've got a beginning, a middle and an end. We've got an end to the story, where the head of research, Edna Dargy, who's amazing, goes out and finds that information that matches up to what we've said, so, which is very important. That's very important to me anyway.
Yeah, I think so too, because it really gives closure, but it gives validity to it as well. Because by the end, because sometimes you kind of question that. Like, I mean, when you're doing mediumship work, when you're giving an audience, you get that feedback, you get that confirmation, but you don't have that confirmation. And by having somebody who researches it and finds it, and I mean, this can be very difficult, the research part of it, because you got to go back years, hundreds of years, maybe even longer, to figure out what happened to this individual. So
Yeah.
how did you get approached like that? Was somebody like one day said, you know what, Jackie, I had this problem in my house. I think there's a spirit in my house. Can you come over and take a look? Like, how did that start for you?
Yeah, that's exactly how it
Did
started.
it really?
You must be psychic. Yeah, no, that it is just how it started. Like, somebody contacted me to say, I've got this problem. I don't know what to do, because I've been doing this a long, long time. What would your advice be? So really, we sort of thrown in at the deep end, as spirit tend to do, throw you in at the deep end. And we were sent to this house. We didn't know why we were going there, and we had to travel a few hours to get there. This lady had rung, she'd gotten this problem and she didn't know what to do about it. All we knew is there was just like a sense in the house of upset, and people who would uh, be sort of at loggerheads with each other. There was no reason for that, and there was just a something there. She knew more than she told us, and when I'm saying us, I'm talking about Christine, who was my first partner on Rescue Mediums. So Christine and I went to this house, and when we got there, we had to wait for them. It turned out to be a vicarage, you know, a rectory. So there had been a clergyman. It wasn't now, but it was sort of years prior to that. So it was attached to the church. So when we got there, there was no one available. We had to go into the church. The funny thing was, we always meditate every day, or we meditate when we're about to do a reading or when we're about to go on an investigation, and on that particular day meditated, and we were told that we would see butterflies, and it was February, and we were thinking, nah, no, that's not going to happen. And this is no word of a lie. We went into that church and there were butterflies all flying around the altar.
Wow.
Honestly, it was incredible. So we thought, okay, yeah, we know we're in the right place. They're letting us know we're in the right place. So eventually we goes into the house, and it was a 3-story house. And we were aware of a feeling on the very top floor of there was a lot of, it was like it was a jumble up of feelings. So one minute, yay, really, really happy, and the other, a sort of a frightened feel, and then a very upset feel. Anyway, cut to the chase, because I can talk for England. I'll
That's
go
okay.
on and on.
We got lots of time. This is good. This is all golden. Don't worry. I mean, this is why I want these type of stories. It's fantastic.
Well, you know, it is such a sweet story, really, because we started to communicate with a young boy. I think he was probably about 10 or 11, that sort of age, and he had Down syndrome, and he was ever such a lovely lad, you know, and he came and he was chatting to us. We invited the homeowner to join us, so we sat in a circle, sent the energy round to try and find out why he was there. It was very unusual for, you know, because they're such a happy-go-lucky sort of personalities, you know, and he had that lovely personality. And then another figure came in, and this other figure was a servant, a female, and she told us the story, and she said that this young man had been, that he lived on that top floor, and he was chained at times into a particular area there. He was
Wow.
chained by, you know, the ankle, so that he couldn't go into any other areas of the house.
Wow.
And he was taken out at night time on a lead, like a dog would be, and she was the one that had to take him.
Oh,
And the
wow.
reason was because his father didn't want anyone to know that he had a Down syndrome child, it was just appalling, absolutely.
Oh my God.
Appalling.
It's
It was
heart-wrenching. Yeah.
heartbreaking, really. And the whole time we were doing this, the lady who owned the house, she was sitting there, she was crying, she was getting really, really upset. We were aware that what we were saying to her, what we were relaying to her, was very upsetting for her. Then all of once I saw like a grandfather figure, and this young boy turned round and he's going like that, and he's waving like this to his grandfather. The grandfather came, took him by the hand, and the lovely nurse who'd looked after him as well, she sort of followed behind, and off they went. And bless him, as he was going through the light, he turned round and he just waved at us, and this huge big beaming smile.
Oh my
It was
God.
it was a wonderful thing, a really wonderful experience, to feel that we were part of that and we could help with that. After we'd finished the rescue, and then we did like a cleansing to lift the energy, the homeowner said to us, she said, I want to show you something. She knew the story, and she said that there had been a child there who had got Down syndrome. She showed us a cupboard, and she said, I had the chains taken out of this place, and that's where they were. She didn't know what they were for,
Wow.
but yeah, and she showed us where the chains had been there. So what was interesting about that was, a few days later we went to our local spiritualist church, and the medium on the rostrum came at the very end of the service, and she said, I've got to give you a box of chocolate from this young lady in spirit, who says that, you know, she was a servant, and you know exactly why it's being given to you. So it's like, oh my goodness, wow.